Good morning, everyone. You're here with Benjamin Cowenberg, consciousazine.net. So, a gang stalking tale. Back in Australia, I had a Mitsubishi Pajero, four-wheel drive, and I used to travel while I was studying. I was doing my Bachelor of Business, double IT majors, and I would wake up wherever I wanted and surf the beautiful east coast of Australia, and eventually make my way back up to the Gold Coast or Tweed Head campus of Southern Cross University, and then, whack over an assignment or, do some, very serious work. But a lot of the time I was on the road, and like most of the time I was, wherever I wanted to be, at beach A or beach B. Wherever the waves were good, I was in the barrel at those waves. It was an awesome life. And, I had all my free time because I was external study. So I didn't have to go into any lecture at any specific time. So I was always on the road in my car, and I slept in across the back seat to the front seat, across the middle console. I had a really good console, and then it actually had padding on it, and all I would do is fill up that middle of the, where you put your feet in the back seat, and then I'd lay on an angle across, and, you just put some doonas and pillows and all that under there, and she'll be right, mate. No, it was really easy to just set up a bed that way. So I was always on the road. I was always road tripping, and, they were always chasing me. They were always around. It was, this is when I started to realize all this, as far back as 2010, and I'll talk about the double roundabout scene in a video soon. That was my first real obvious. I was like, okay, when this double roundabout scene happened, I was like, okay, they're definitely onto me. They're definitely, something's happening here. They're zooming in on me. That's what I've always called it, that they're zooming in on you. Recently I saw a video title, Gang Stalking something, they are not after the bad people. And I thought, oh, here we go. That's my experience too, that they're not actually after, the real bad people, because some of those bad people, they're NPC organic portals clearing experience. They're just clearing that experience of, say they murder someone or something, or they're a robber or something. They're clearing that experience for the planet and experience in general. So that's why NPCs and organic portals are said to die all the horrible deaths. You'll hear that if you, look into organic portal movement. And I get that. I understand what they're saying, because it's about clearing experience. And I got that idea from Matt Kahn, that the idea of clearing experience. He said that once in a lecture video. He's like a spiritual dude, and he just talks. But yeah. So they're like clearing experience. That's a good way to say it. I like saying it like that, because it's understandable. Anyway, so back to what I was saying. I was always road tripping, right? And it was around that time, 2011, 2010. I'll talk about those times soon. But later, in 2016, I was working on a farm, and I would stay at my friend's. How good was this for synchronicity? I had my house up on the hill, that 2014 house that you see in my video, 2014 summer food foraging. You can see my cabin. Also alien basis fail video, you can see where I was staying up on that hill. Beautiful, huh? Massive view of the Tweed Valley. Anyway, down the bottom was a guy who was working for the farm I started working at, and he was exactly across the road from the farm I was working at, and they both had big properties. Basically, that family owned half that road. It's crazy. That really big farm. And I got paid, more than $20 an hour to work there. It was just bliss, free food, the whole massive farm. And it was a polyculture farm. I actually got a video in the $30 Bandit food plant teaching series you can watch called Tim's Polyculture Farm or something like that. It's Tim's farm, you'll see it in there. And he was real passion fruit farming a lot, and a lot of bananas, but all kinds of foods. Anyway, I was staying in 2016 at that guy's house. I'd moved out of that house up the hill, but that's where it was, down there. It's near Cabarita Beach, North New South Wales, Australia. And near Tropical Fruit World, if you look on Google in Australia and you type in Tropical Fruit World, right near there, up in the hills behind it. And so this whole area was pretty novel because, it had Tropical Fruit World there and, all these plants like wampy fruit that you couldn't buy anywhere else, and rare fruits and stuff. And also Tim had this really good, the best, but this really good farm stall where he sold his food. And because he had so much different plants, like even, what's it called, custard apple and, rare things, dragon fruit even. You can see that all in the video. But, yeah, because he had a rare thing, I realized this valley was a valley of novelty. So that's why these events were so intense there. It was also within the shamanic Bermuda Triangle, which is another video I created on the consciousazine playlist. And so it's in that area, and it's a very novel valley. It's interesting, the energy. Everywhere you go has different energy. And so what was interesting about this was, I hovered around this place naturally near the end of the eschaton, right? Near the end of human history. It's pretty interesting. You can read my upcoming book, The Eschaton, to know about novelty and concrescence and dimensions and all these ideas. Anyway, let's get to the point of the story. Sorry for harping on, but I want to introduce this all. I was staying at this guy's house across from the farm I was working, but I was basically just staying on his couch, and we were mates. We'd go do stuff during the day if we weren't working sometimes, or I'd go to university and I'd, study most of the time. And so I was there, but not there all the time. And sometimes I would have to stay up on the hill near that old 2014 abode. And I would stay in the hills up there because there was a lot of little places to park just on the side of the road, and not too many people would go along those roads. They weren't main roads, or just little quiet mountain roads, right? So not too many people around. And there was this one spot I stayed, and I remember they just threw rocks on the bonnet of my car. They're really, really, really tiny rocks, okay? So what would happen was, I'd go there after university. They would have my number plates read on my car by the Tweed Bridge. The Tweed River Bridge has cameras on it. There's no toll bridge or anything, but it's got cameras, and I'm 100% sure, because of all the times they've chased me out of that university and I had to go at like 120 kilometers through those places to, get ahead of the police cars coming. And if you're wondering how they orchestrated all this, very, very easily. My university at Gold Coast campus at Bolingal, Gold Coast, which is right on the border of New South Wales and Queensland, Australia. The Gold Coast airport is where my university campus, the Gold Coast campus, was. And that's where I was at most of the time. That was the best campus. Free showers and everything. You see, I was road tripping, and just life was free, and I'm getting paid to, study. Awesome life. And, I'm there all the time, and so they could see me leave because they had a building on the entrance where you go into the airport from the main road at the lights. There's actually a federal police building right there. And then you turn left into my university instead of going into the airport car park. And you go to my university, and across from that even, and this is all in the same complex, it's all right next to each other, and across from my university down that little side road was another big building, which was also a federal police building. So it's very interesting how all this has gone down, and no wonder my gang stalking is so intense, you see, because I was right there under their noses, you know. So what's interesting about this is they could easily always see me leave. I'd have to pass 2 federal police buildings when they're very aware of me. Then I would have to go through the cameras at the Tweed Bridge. And they would always just send down, you know, the highway patrol, really fast cars, to try and get you, like, see if you drink driving or something stupid, you know. They always just try and get you in trouble, you know. They have a problem with you, and they're just trying to, you know, stuff up your life, pretty much. If you look through all other people's gang stalking videos, they say the same. You know, they're trying to isolate you and blah, blah, blah. They want you destitute. Destitute is a good word. And impoverished. And they want you without energy, because those demon people, they know that you are a true concrescence, right? People say, oh, we're, you know, messengers of God and all that. Yep, all that's true. But the way I say it is, we're a concrescence, because we're meant to have all the energy. Currently, the world is upside down, and NPC, like organic portal people, have all the energy. Do you understand? It should be exactly flipped. People like me should be at the top, like the souled human complexity knots should be in their rightful position. But currently the world's exactly flipped. We have the simplistic organic portal type people, you know, who are rich and at the top. So we need to flip the world for it to work properly, by the way. We're doing everything backward. I'll explain that 100 times over in the forward-backward asymptotic model of time soon, and in my book, The Eschaton. Anyway, so I'm always on the road, and, you know, they knew when I would leave university, I'd study till like 9 p.m, 10 p.m, 12 p.m, and there's no one around at those times at the university. It's not very busy. So it's very easy to see me leave the university campus. The big car park is across the road from their building and everything. Their building was looking into my computer room. You've seen all my videos where I'm doing health advice videos from the computer room in university. That was at the Gold Coast campus. And they were exactly across from that building. Basically, I could look out the window. If one of them was standing at their window, they would be looking straight at me. How funny is this, right? Come on, this is like the biggest angel demon epitome like thing at the end of history. I found it so funny, you know. We were, you know, such a thin line of separation. It was very interesting. Anyway, so I was easily obtained my position, you know. I already knew about, you know, I think I already knew, oh no, I used to not use plane mode. I was going to say I already knew about plane mode, that I had to use it all the time, but I didn't use it all the time. Because at that time, I still wasn't 100% sure. I was like, what the hell is going on? Like, are they able to, you know, how can they just get a warrant for my phone? I haven't done anything. The way I think this works is if someone says something to you and calls the police on you, and you haven't actually done anything, then they must put you on lists. And like I said in the Ricochet Effect gang stalking video, they would just escalate you through lists, and just to make sure they can keep tabs on you, you know. It's just like they make it up. Because I don't have any charges. There's no criminal thing I've done that they've got a charge on me for. It's absolutely absurd that I'm gang stalked this hard when there is absolutely no charges for anything. I thought that's completely illegal. That's why I'm 100% out of society. I'm completely finished with it. I'll never ever pay taxes again. I'll never ever go back into society. I'm completely done with it. It's 100% fucked up now. You guys are completely sick. Anyway, so what I want to say is that, you know, they could easily get my position. I think I even used to leave my phone on, you know, just reception, because I used to have more people I would talk to. Now I talk to absolutely no one. I'm just doing writing and videos. Very happy and peaceful, by the way, right now, camping. It's awesome. So I'm always, sort of held in this bubble by the earth and protected. Anyway, so I'm on this road, and I used to sleep up there in the hills before work, just when I didn't want to go at 10 p.m. to my friend's house across the road from the farm, because it was 10 p.m. I didn't want to go there and wake him up. I was finishing some study at university very late, so I'd go up this road and I'd sleep there, and in different parts of the hills. But in this one place, I remember, because this was right near, before I came to Uruguay, and what happened was they'd throw these little rocks at your car, like little tiny, like really tiny rocks. Imagine the tiniest rock you can pick up, and that's how small. So they made only a little tiny dink, 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 dink. These little noises on the bonnet. And that's one way I knew it was people and not, I don't know, berries falling from a tree above me or something, or seeds or something. I knew it was rocks by the metallic, tink, because a thud of, say, a seed or a fruit hitting your car is completely different to the ting of a, rock hitting metal. So I could tell that by one way. That's one way I could tell that it was people. So it's very interesting, because another way I could tell was not just by that noise, but because it was only on the bonnet. It wasn't at the back of my car. Nothing was hitting the wheels. Nothing was even really hitting the top of the roof. I think only a few of their rocks would hit the roof. It was mainly on the bonnet. It wasn't on the side of the car or anything. And by the timing, that's factor 3 of how I could tell it was people. By the timing of these rocks, like they weren't random. You could tell it was someone picking up little rocks. They'd throw like 5 or 10 at a time, then it would stop while they're searching for more little rocks. Do you understand? So the timing was the third way I could tell. The fourth way I could tell was when I actually got out of my car, and this was, I think, like the third night, because after 3 nights of it happening, I was like, okay, something's definitely happening, right? After 3 nights of this, and with the previous factors added up, you could just tell it was people. Oh, and then the last way I could tell was when I got out of my car finally on that third night, or whatever it was, second, third, fourth night. Whenever I got out of my car that third night, suddenly a car sped away on the little road that was just below my road, because it's a windy mountain road. So the next road was like 10, 15 meters through the bush. It was like 10 meters or something through the bush on a little steep incline, and that was the next part of the road, and it was actually like another little road that joined onto my little mountain road, and it was near the bottom of the mountains, but still, no one is around, and it's like midnight or 2 or 3 a.m., and another way I could tell it was people is because it wasn't happening when I got there. I didn't pull up my car when I'm awake, conscious. You pull up in a quiet spot, you look if anyone's around and blah, blah, blah. No one's around and it's quiet. And then, I fall asleep and I wake up to little rocks, ting, 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 on my bonnet, right? So that's another way I could tell. But the last way I could tell was because when I got out of my car that third night, or whichever night it was, a car sped away. I started looking in the bushes. They obviously went back to their car and drove away, because it was literally there where the car started and drove away, right under my car. On the incline or the decline of the hill onto the next road. They were just down there on that little next road. So obviously what they were doing is they get out of the car, and yes, I would hear it pull up. Not the first night, I wake up just from the rocks. The second night, I can't remember, But that third night, or one of the nights I heard the car even pull up, was probably that third night when I got out of my car. And so when I, checked, looked in the bushes a bit, probably had my phone light, looked with my phone light or something, and then the car sped off, and it sped off. It wasn't super slow. It wasn't someone just waking up in their house nearby going, oh, I'm off to work at 3 a.m. So, there's 5 ways that I knew it was people, even though I didn't see them face to face. And in my opinion, it was definitely undercover police of the Australian Federal Police at the Gold Coast station.